Take a look at any roundup of the best smartphones under $300 and you're bound to find a lot of compromise, particularly in industrial design. With its newest smartphone, OnePlus looks to change the game. The OnePlus X is the company's most affordable handheld ever, but you wouldn't know it by looking at it. How do the smarts hold up to the looks? I'm Michael Fisher with Pocket Now, and let's find out in our OnePlus X video review. More than anything, the OnePlus X is about style. While our initial hands-on featured the more expensive ceramic edition, even the standard Onyx build is exquisite. A pane of Gorilla Glass 3 up front and one of fire-baked, scratch-resistant glass on the backside come together in an aluminum alloy midplate complete with Art Deco-style striping and subtle chamfers that twinkle in the light. The volume and power buttons are easy to find with the thumb, easy to tell apart thanks to their texture, and their mechanical feedback is almost perfect. On the opposite side, the three-way notification slider is back, allowing ringer settings to be changed with the flick of a switch. In the hand, the feel is nothing short of sublime. By making use of a modest 5-inch display with fairly minimal bezels, OnePlus has produced an Android rarity, a smallish phone with top-shelf design that can be comfortably used with one hand. It's vaguely reminiscent of Sony's Compact series, but at a lissome 6.9mm, the OnePlus X is quite a bit thinner than those devices. And the use of a Full HD AMOLED panel means that blacks blend right in with the bezel, while colors seem to leap right off the screen. In this way, the OnePlus X outshines its higher-end sibling, the OnePlus 2, whose colors seem quite faded by comparison. Not all of the hardware is so winning. For one thing, this is one of the most slippery phones we've ever used. Tabletops, pant legs, armrests, you name it. Our review device has slithered off all of them to fall on the floor. And while its glass is unscathed, its soft aluminum bears the scratches to prove it. Also, the OnePlus X is an absolute magnet for fingerprints, and sadly, they can't be put to any practical use. There's no fingerprint scanner in sight. That's not the only missing feature spec hunters will lament. The phone uses an older Qualcomm Snapdragon 801 for its processor, backed up by just 16 gigs of storage, only 11.5 of which are user accessible. There's no NFC, so Android Pay is out, and while there's LTE baked in, bands 12 and 17 are not supported. And more on this in our test notes in just a minute. But OnePlus has built in some surprising pluses, too. 3 gigs of RAM, for one thing, which helps a bit with app shuffling, and a microSD expansion slot good for another 128 gigs of storage. If you don't need that extra stockpile, you can double up on SIMs instead to use the phone on more than one wireless carrier. As we discovered with the OnePlus 2, this can come in quite handy. Speaking of the OnePlus 2, the OnePlus X software is almost identical. It runs Oxygen OS, a custom fork of Android Lollipop with a few added features, most of which are very useful. Probably our favorite one is one we've seen before. The OnePlus X offers an enhanced version of the ambient display that Google's Nexus family has. When the phone detects that you've picked it up, it projects the time and your waiting notifications onto the screen in a power-saving monochrome. If you've enabled proximity wake, it'll also do this when you wave a hand over the front-facing camera. Many parts of the software experience offer small but convenient upgrades over stock Android. Swipe anywhere on the home screen to deploy the notification shade. Decide which shortcut toggles you want displayed within that notification drawer. Choose what accent and LED colors suit you best, or skin the entire OS in a dark or light theme. And individually dictate app permissions like you can do in Android Marshmallow. As you can see, we're using on-screen soft keys instead of the hardware buttons, mainly because there are no backlights on the latter. If you do decide to use the capacitive buttons, you can assign shortcuts to double taps or long presses. And speaking of shortcuts, you've still got the option to draw a circle on the lock screen to launch the camera, or draw a V to turn on the flashlight. They're a little awkward, but once you get used to them, they can come in handy. Sort of like the shelf that OnePlus has included on the leftmost home screen, a vertically scrolling array of widgets. If you don't like it, you can remove it. On the whole, Oxygen OS remains one of our favorite Android flavors. Its added features are convenient at best and inoffensive at worst, and its cosmetic customizations do a nice job of complementing the beautiful hardware here. But OnePlus tells us a Marshmallow update is coming sometime next year, but the company has yet to commit to a firm date. OnePlus has opted for a 13-megapixel Samsung ISOCELL camera for this phone, with an f2.2 aperture and no optical image stabilization. The result is adequate results in bright light, and that's about as good as it gets. If you're planning on showing most of your photos on the phone itself, the AMOLED display helps a lot by artificially boosting contrast and saturation. Take them off the device, though, and the colors wither. Zoom in and the detail falls apart, edges corrupted by digital grain. Brightly lit areas are often overexposed. Colorful rows of pink flower petals become a washed-out expanse of salmon-colored feathers. The lower the light gets, the tougher it becomes to gain and keep focus. Setting the phone to HDR mode helps it brighten very dim nighttime scenes, and using the resolution-enhancing clear image mode does add needed sharpness. But these are inconsistent workarounds. There's nothing special about the phone's video performance, which maxes out at 1080p and exhibits many of the same handicaps that the stills do, with the added shakes and shimmies that come from a lack of stabilization. Selfie quality on the front-facing 8-megapixel camera varies significantly depending on lighting, but who's going to use this for professional glamour shots? As with most selfie shooters, it's good enough, given plenty of light. But with a skin-smoothing beauty mode that does a good job of evening out your complexion without getting ridiculous about things. The camera suite is probably the weakest aspect of the OnePlus X. If you confine your photo sharing to casual stints on Facebook and Twitter, yeah, it'll do the job. But if you take even a small measure of pride in your smartphone photography, even, say, to an Instagram degree, you may want to look elsewhere. We tested the OnePlus X over 6 days in eastern Long Island, New York, and as expected, 4G network performance was inconsistent. The lack of band 12 and 17 makes this phone incapable of using 700 MHz spectrum on either AT&T or T-Mobile, meaning we couldn't get LTE in many places, and AT&T even thought our phone was a 2G device at one point. The the OnePlus X will not perform as well as phones custom-made for those networks. On the bright side, none of this affects voice quality. The OnePlus X brings a clear earpiece, and its 138-gram mass is no burden to hold up for a long call. The user experience and other fundamentals ranges from average to slightly below. The bottom-firing speaker is easy to accidentally block with a finger, and while it's usually loud enough, it's prone to raspy playback. Playing high-demand games like Asphalt 8 requires you to step down the graphics to medium at most. Anything higher results in so much choppiness as to render it mostly unplayable. Battery life is better than we expected given the smallish power pack, but it's nothing special. 4 hours of screen on time over a 13-hour day was the most we were able to manage. 3 hours screen on time is more typical. And finally, there's no quick charging here. No matter what kind of adapter we use, the OnePlus X charged at a plodding 1% per hour or less through its USB 3.0 port. The Onyx Edition OnePlus X will go on sale in the US on November 19th through OnePlus's invite system at a price of $249. If you're the type of buyer who prizes performance over physical allure, there are better options out there, including the OnePlus 2 for just $80 more. The OnePlus X was built for those who care more about beautiful presentation than raw capability. For $249, you can certainly find a smarter sidekick, but you're not likely to find a prettier one.